Hi, this is Talia, and it's time for another episode of Kunes Car Convos. Today, we're going to be speaking with Erica Card, who is one of the organizers of the Maker Faire at Elkhorn Area High School, and will be driving in the 2023 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. So I know that you're a teacher. Do you prefer Erica or Mrs. Card?
Either one.
You're either one? Okay.
Yeah, my students are Miss Card and
okay.
Everything else is Erica.
All right. Perfect. So how long have you been teaching at Elkhorn Area School District?
So this is I've been teaching in Elkhorn since 2002.
Okay.
So 22nd year.
Oh my gosh. Wow. It's a long time. Have you always been at the middle school?
Nope. I was at Jackson and taught 5th grade, mostly 1 year of 4th grade. And then I rolled out Project Lead the Way for 1 year. Yeah.
Nice.
And that's what brought about the Maker Faire. And then since then, I think it's been about 10 years maybe now that I've been at the middle school teaching science.
Okay. So how does Project Lead the Way tie in with Maker Faire?
So Project Lead the Way is a engineering, biomedical, computer science curriculum that's hands-on. It follows something called the APB, which is the 3 activities, the project, and the problem.
Oh. So
because they're constantly innovating and inventing and things like that, then when I started that journey here in Elkhorn, someone had mentioned like Maker Faire out of Milwaukee to me. And so I was like, came back and told Jason Tadlock, our superintendent, I was like, can we start a Maker Faire here? And that's when he ended up hooking me up with Rebecca, who's the library media specialist at the high school. Okay. And so ever since then that we've had the Maker Faire going in Elkhorn.
How long ago was that since it started?
It was about 5 years ago, but then you have a couple COVID years in there where we didn't do it. So this was our 5th Maker Faire this year.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
So then, okay, because they didn't have the Maker Faire when I was going to school in Elkhorn, what all is the Maker Faire exactly?
So the Maker Faire is basically a celebration of making anything. So you could be making cookies and decorating them, or cakes and decorating those, as a lot of the small businesses around Elkhorn do, or home businesses. But then you can also get into things like tinkering and, turning wood to make like a pen, for example, or engineering, robotics, creating fishing lures. Like it's really kind of a anything making celebration, which really that's also how it ties into Project Lead the Way, is it's that innovation and that invention for our students, and then has branched out in the community and beyond. So then you have in the Maker Faire, you have people who are part of the community who are participating, but then there are students as well? Yes.
Okay, so are they just from Project Lead the Way, or are there more than just the Project Lead the Way students?
It's more than just Project Lead the Way. Like this year we had the 5th graders from West Side showing off their Project Lead the Way robots. So cool. But then we had a high school student who has started to really get involved and figure out tricks for yo-yos and making his own yo-yos.
Oh, that's
so
neat.
He was there, and then we actually have a little guy. His name is Henry. He's not from Elkhorn, but he must be like maybe 10 or 12 years old now. He's been with us the last few years. And he actually did a little internship with NASA this past summer out of Kenosha.
That is
and
so
he
cool.
It's called Henry's Marvelous Machines.
Oh my gosh.
And he does a lot of tinkering and creating like robotic hands, and he just started, and his parents keep pushing him, to go further and further with it, and so that's what he does. But we've also had in Elkhorn, like the ag students have had things out in the greenhouse that we've used. We've had art students that have done drawing and painting. We've had like the welding and fabrication in that area where they use the CNC machines to create things and sell them. So it's all different levels of students and different things that they come up with.
That's incredible. Is there a particular invention or build that has stood out to you over the years, or maybe even from this past Maker's Fair?
Well, actually, this past Maker Fair, we had one of the legions, the Star Wars legions, come in, and they were pretty amazing because they had Chewbacca.
Oh my gosh.
And they talked about how the costume for Chewbacca, they make the costumes from scratch.
Yeah.
And so that took like over 100 hours of just like looping all of Chewbacca's little hairs and different things. So they were pretty cool. And also along the same Star Wars themes, we've had like R2-D2, and they make these little droids. And this year they had little mini droids. So that has been fun.
That's amazing.
3D printed creations that, different people have come up with. Those have been cool. One surprising one to me is we had a couple years ago, we had this woman who came in and she just made like bears basically out of like a sock and taught people how to do that. And she had a line like a mile long at the Maker Fair. That was like, wow, that's crazy.
So then people can go to the Maker Fair and learn how to do these things, learn the process that it takes to build these incredible things that people are making.
Yeah. Yep.
That's really neat.
Yeah, and the whole Maker Fair is free because of sponsors like Kunes. Like they're there, and like this year it was cool because then Timberlee got involved and came in and did some of their leather crafting things and stuff like that. So yeah, it's an all-around learning, and our biggest thing is we want to keep it free to everybody. So it's absolutely a celebration, but also a learning. We even had this year the Elkhorn Parks and Rec come, and they did sailboats and magnetic fishing and cardboard boat races within the pool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of different directions it can go and things that can happen.
See, like this event is just so incredible to me, and I really wish it was around when I was in school, but it just really goes to show how wonderful it is when the community can come together and showcase everything that people are making that some people might not know otherwise about,
Yeah, for sure.
And especially since it's free, I mean, it would be a good afternoon to get out and do something different.
Yep.
We see what other people are working on, maybe get inspired, right?
Yeah, and then come have your own booths the following year. And it's even things that people do they don't think of as making, like last year and this year we had a honey association come in, and they talked about honeybees, but also how to build the little box, that the bees make honey in, and then how do you harvest the honey. We've had some people that have goats come in and they made goat soap.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, it's a lot of things. They don't realize the talents they have, or that they could come in, and really it's open to anybody.
That is really neat and so amazing. Do you have something that you like to work on outside of school? Or is there time?
Yeah, I mean, I just got in my classroom a glow forge and some Cricuts, so I used to really do scrapbooking and things like that. So now I've really started to kind of refine my craft, because like right now in teaching, we're building houses, like little model houses. And so now, like just this week, I learned how to use the glow forge, which is a laser cutter, of which you can see at the Maker Fair too, to cut and design bricks for the bottom part, or rocks or whatever, and then the kids can color them. So that's what I've kind of been enjoying and learning how to do, as well as the 3D printing and some of that interior design. I always say, if I could pick a different career, I think I would have been a graphic designer.
That's awesome.
Work with those pieces of that. So
yeah, so really this event is open to all students who want to participate.
Yep.
Are there any students that you get who, let's say that they went to the year prior and then they just get inspired to build something for the next Maker Fair? That's happened before? Is there anything?
Yeah, that just happened this year. We had just a community, an older woman from the community that's retired come in, and last year she just sat at a little table and did some crocheting and knitting and and things like that. And we said, hey, we have a student who's learning how to do that. Do you mind if she sits with you this year at your booth? And you can kind of talk with one another, but you could maybe mentor her a little bit. And she did just at the Maker Faire. She's like, absolutely, have her come and sit here. And the student who's now at the high school actually made a whole bunch of like little to bigger stuffed animals out of crocheting and knitting, like with this thicker yarn. And she had her own booth this year, and by the end of the Maker Faire she was totally sold out. And now she's like, hey, I have the confidence, I'm gonna go to some other craft sales and things like that and see how it does. And then I had another person contact me and say, hey, that person that, you know, student that was at the Maker Faire, could you, my kid, I brought something home, and could I order one of those from her? Can you hook me up with her? So then I got the opportunity to do that, so that was a lot of fun too.
That is really cool. So you're not only inspiring other people to do their own crafts, you're fostering relationships from people like in the community who might not have even met each other otherwise. That's beautiful.
And it's not just our community, like it's, you know, probably a 50 to 100 mile radius around the Maker Faire where people will come in. You know, the guy we had this year, that we have a little bingo board. As you visit different booths, you can get a little sticker.
That's so cute.
And he's called Maker's Mashup, and he has over 32,000 followers on YouTube. And he does all like 3D printing, laser engraving, and things like that. And so for the reward for filling out your bingo board, everybody got to make these little 3D printed lightsabers.
Oh my gosh.
And he gave them away at his booth. So
that's amazing.
You know, then people got hooked up with him, and students get inspired, you know, that way. What else can I 3D print, or how can I use it, or, you know? So that was pretty cool.
Do you guys have like do you guys pick a different theme every year for the Maker Faire?
Nope, it's just always a celebration of making, tinkering, inventing, innovation.
Okay, all right.
We have a nationwide license, so these happen all around the United States. We just have a mini one here in Elkhorn.
So what kind, like how much time does it take to gather all the vendors and the participants, put everything together? Because you teach, like, that's your number one job. Is teaching. And then you organize this awesome event on the side. Like, that's incredible.
So luckily I have Rebecca to be able to work with, because between the two of us, like, her weaknesses are probably my strengths and vice versa. So it's been actually a really good pairing. And both of us go out and, you know, are in the community looking for like, hey, you should try that at the Maker Faire. So already this year, we've been kind of sending emails back and forth and starting to contact people for this upcoming February 15th of this next year is the Maker Faire again. So it really is a slower process probably until maybe about September or October. And once we get our classrooms kind of started and we have, you know, maybe a little more time, that's when it really kicks into high gear. So probably like November to like January, or mid-October to January, we're really going after who we're going to have come in and what sponsors we have, and you know, budget-wise, who can we afford to bring in. And so there's different things like that. So it's a whole year process, but probably really the busiest between, like I said, October, November, through to, you know, actually like through to the moment that we open the doors, it seems like, for the Maker Faire. We're still figuring stuff out.
So then if someone wanted to participate as an exhibitor, how much would that cost for them?
So if they're not selling anything, it is free. So their booth is completely free. If they're selling something, we just charge $25 for the booth, and then they take care of their finances and their money. We just don't let in, like, we're not a craft fair, you know, where we're selling everything. It really want it to be a learning opportunity and to provide like hands-on learning. So like, for example, we had a former student of mine and his mom that are doing freeze-dried candy, which is all the rage right now with the kids too. But they came in and did a really educational booth about this is how it happens. Here's the small things on every bag of candy. They had like the original, you know, like an original Skittle, and then what it blew up to be like when they freeze-dried it.
That's cool.
So, like, for example, for them, they pay us $25, but we still require them to do like a hands-on or a teaching of some sort. And we only let in so many pay vendors.
Sure.
Because we really, I mean, our real main aim is students not only in Elkhorn, but in all the surrounding school districts. I mean, we've talked to districts as far away as like Madison and Milwaukee that sometimes will come in. Like one year we had a robotics team do underwater robotics in our area, like a competition at the same time.
That is cool.
So yeah.
That's so cool. So it's mainly in that new addition that they put in the gym. I don't know what they call it, the sports complex?
The agility center?
Thank you. It's mainly there?
It's mainly in the main gym.
Okay.
And then we branch into the agility center. Like this year in the agility center, we just had like for younger kids, we had bouncy stuff in there to kind of get we called it the wiggle zone, to get out some of the wiggles so they can come back in and learn and not be overwhelmed. In years past, we've had like drones that set up a race course and then they're racing in the agility center. But then from there we go into the pool where I talked about, like, we had cardboard boat races. We had sailboats that were in there and did a demonstration for STEM. And then we spread towards the auditorium and the Suki gym, so a small gym, where we have every year we've had a Tesla coil company that comes in and they do a couple shows and do some educational things. And we have all glow-in-the-dark stuff. So this year we had like performers that could juggle with glow-in-the-dark things. And so that's kind of a dark zone. We had glow-in-the-dark cotton candy that was sold right outside of that this year.
I couldn't think of a more perfect spot. There's like no windows in there.
Yeah, it's perfect. And then we spread into the cafeteria where we have a raffle. We have food vendors. This year we had 2 food trucks and blacksmiths that were out on like the front and ham radio. And then we usually go all the way over to like the library area, the hub, and they did like robots and crafts and different things. Students presented in there that they're doing at the high school
That's
level
really
as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So for the raffle, there's just one raffle you guys put on for the event?
It has a whole bunch of raffle prizes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the proceeds for that go to the event next year?
The proceeds for that actually go to scholarships.
Oh,
for the high school students. So if they've been involved in broadcasting and making, and Rebecca teaches some courses at the high school as well with using the Glowforge and the lasers and production. It goes towards that. So the raffle, we do all towards that. Really, the money that goes to the Maker Faire is on the day of the Maker Faire. If you haven't gotten free tickets prior, the ticket sale money will go towards next year. And then our sponsors is really what feed the program for the following year, feed the show for the next year.
That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
So then what are your goals for the Maker Faire for next year?
Well, this year we almost got back up to full size that we were when we started, or in our first couple years, because we started at the middle school our very first year. We outgrew it right away.
Oh, wow.
And so we went to the high school, and then our numbers went down a little bit because, like I said, we had COVID in there, and it was the build back up from COVID. So this year we had a little over 1,000 people that joined us. Probably like, I don't know, maybe 1,200-ish people that came through the doors and reserved tickets. And we had about 75 booths, so we're very close to back to full strength. So I think it would just be, a goal would be to just continue growing, and where's all the different ways we can go, and how can we get more kids involved? How can we get more sponsors to bring in things that kids, students and adults have never seen in Elkhorn?
Yeah.
Like we brought in a guy last year who came from New York, and he actually has a cool story where he was going to engineering school, and COVID hit, and he couldn't do any hands-on tinkering or engineering. So for his classes, and so he started tinkering at home and figured out how to solve little mini Rubik's cubes, and then put them in like a frame to create a picture. So last year he created Giannis.
Oh my gosh, that's
out of
awesome.
Rubik's cubes, and then this year he continued with it, but he switched over to Legos.
Okay.
So every participant got like a little square. They had to put the colors in the right places of Legos, and then they put it so like all these squares of Legos made a bigger picture of Jordan Love.
Oh my gosh.
So it allows us to bring in things like that. So to continue really to like represent our sponsors well, so they want to continue to give back in that way. And then just continue to get the word out. It surprises me the amount of people in Elkhorn that are like, I've never been to it, I don't know what you're talking about. But the amount of people that do talk about it, it's surprising.
Yeah. So I honestly, I'm so glad we were able to talk about this today, though, because when I heard Maker Faire, I didn't know what that meant. And now hearing you say everything that's there, Jordan and I are going to have to go over there.
You're going to have to go check it out. And he can say hi to his former teacher.
For sure. Yeah. So then, what would your favorite exhibit be if you had to pick one? Or a couple?
Man.
Top 5.
Well, of course, all the student ones are always my favorite because it's so fun as a teacher to see their talents and the things they can do and the things they come up with and the way their minds think and how they apply their, learning from within school. So those are probably, those are always my top ones. I think that's just the teacher in me. And then just to keep encouraging them. But away from that, wow, I don't know. I like the 3D printers. They always come up with something new and engaging, and they have a big draw. I know last year, like Hanson Screen Printing, he had his little bike that has like a press on the back to make t-shirts. That was really neat, just because I think it's a lot of things. Like we have sports so huge here, but how is your uniform or your t-shirts created? Like we just all take it for granted.
Right, totally.
So those are probably some of my favorite ones, and then just the ones that are really hands-on, like Gateway. They always do a great booth that's really hands-on. These Star Wars ones were fantastic. Then they walk throughout the fair. The Tesla coil is always electrifying show, right? So seeing that lightning bolt come down, and there's a knight that's dressed in armor. And the lightning comes, and he usually holds a sword or something, and he fights the lightning. So
it's a whole show.
Really neat. Yeah,
that is really cool
to see. And of course, all the ones that have to do with engineering and project lead the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because that's my wheelhouse.
Given.
Yep.
Are there any other tidbits that you wanna share with us before I drop you off?
No, I think just to continue to help us get the word out, and to hopefully Kunes will continue to sponsor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's huge for us. That's half the battle, to get those funds to be able to just keep it a free family event. That really impacts the students and the schools and the community, really.
Totally.
So that's just the biggest thing, is back to that goal, is how do we continue to just grow it? How do we get bigger and bigger, and can we move from a mini Maker Faire to a full-size Maker Faire in the future?
I think there's so much potential here, and especially with everything, with how much involvement in the community and how it brings everyone together. Students, community, small business owners.
Yeah.
Makers, all the makers from all the zones.
Yeah, for sure.
I have all the hopes that it's definitely going to keep growing.
I hope so too.
Yeah. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you.